The air in St. Peter's Square was thick with incense and heavy anticipation. People from around the world stood shoulder to shoulder, watching the balcony of the basilica, with eyes full of hope and hearts racing with emotion. Then, a voice rang out, echoing across the square. It was the announcement that Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle had been elected as the 266th Pope, a new leader for the Catholic Church, a new chapter in history. And for the first time ever, an Asian man now held the highest spiritual office on earth. He chose the name Francis II, honoring his predecessor. And immediately the crowd broke into cheers. He lifted his hand, offering a warm blessing with a soft smile that radiated peace and love. Joyous bells rang across the ancient city of Rome, but beneath that celebration, whispers began to rise, soft at first, then louder, spreading from person to person like a chilling breeze across the piazza. These were not cheers of joy, but murmurs of fear. There was something different about this moment, something heavier. People spoke of old prophecies, forgotten warnings passed down through time. Some were convinced that this moment had been foretold. They mentioned a prophecy from the 12th century, written by an Irish archbishop named Saint Malachy. According to this prophecy, there would be 112 popes, ending with one called Petrus Romanus, or Peter the Roman, who would lead the Church during a time of chaos and destruction. As soon as Pope Francis II stepped onto that balcony, many began to wonder, was he the one? Could he be the final pope? Was the Church now standing at the edge of the end times? These questions didn't stay inside the Vatican walls. They exploded across the internet, filled news stations, and sparked endless discussions. People everywhere were divided. Some believed his election was a sign of hope, a chance for the Church to embrace change, diversity, and compassion. Others believed it was a dark omen. They pointed to the rising number of natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, wildfires, and strange signs in the sky. Was the earth itself crying out in warning? Was this all part of a bigger plan? The prophecy of the popes has always been a topic of deep debate. Some call it superstition. Others are convinced it's a hidden truth wrapped in symbolism. Each pope, before, has been matched to a strange but often fitting phrase. The final entry in the prophecy doesn't name a specific man. Instead, it describes a time of great tribulation and destruction. Many scholars say this is a clue, not about the person, but about the times. And when they look at our world today, full of war, disease, division, and suffering, they begin to wonder if we are living in those final days. Inside the Vatican, emotions were just as complicated. Cardinals and priests tried to maintain calm, but not all of them succeeded. Some laughed off the fears, calling them dramatic and irrational, but others, quietly behind closed doors, admitted they too had concerns. They had read the texts, they had seen the signs. The Vatican, usually a place of strong, unshakable tradition, now faced questions even it could not answer. Pope Francis II, however, did not let the fear show. From the very start, he chose to focus on unity, mercy, and healing. His sermons spoke of love in the face of fear, peace in the middle of chaos. He called on people to turn away from anger and return to their faith, to care for one another, to believe in the good that still exists in the world. Still, his calm voice could not silence the growing anxiety. Around the world, reactions were mixed. Some cities held candlelight celebrations, thanking God for this new beginning. Others saw protests, full of people afraid that this new pope was a sign of doom. Online, the noise only got louder. Videos claiming the end of the world went viral. Talk shows brought in priests, scientists, and conspiracy theorists to argue day and night. Photos of storms, floods, and fire were used as proof of prophecy coming true. Climate change warnings were twisted into religious signs. Earthquakes were linked to ancient texts. Every news story became another thread in the growing web of fear. For many, the line between faith and fear was becoming harder to see. And at the center of it all stood Pope Francis II, calm, humble, and yet surrounded by a storm of belief, doubt, and prophecy. Was he the last pope, as some believed? Or was he simply the right man at the right time, sent not to end the world, but to lead it through a time of struggle and change? This question lingered in the air like the smoke of burning incense. Some prayed harder than ever, some turned away in fear, and others waited silently, watching, hoping that their faith would lead them through whatever came next. The future remains unclear. Whether this moment is the beginning of the end or the start of something new, only time will tell. But what is certain is that this new Pope, Francis II, carries more than just a title. He carries the hopes of billions and the weight of centuries. He walks forward into the unknown, guided by his faith, and followed by a world watching with bated breath. Sermons spoke of love in the face of fear, peace in the middle of chaos. He called on people to turn away from anger and return to their faith, to care for one another, to believe in the good that still exists in the world. Still, his calm voice could not silence the growing anxiety. Around the world, reactions were mixed. Some cities held candlelight celebrations, thanking God for this new beginning. Others saw protests, full of people afraid that this new pope was a sign of doom. Online, the noise only got louder. Videos claiming the end of the world went viral. Talk shows brought in priests, scientists, and conspiracy theorists to argue day and night. Photos of storms, floods, and fire were used as proof of prophecy coming true. Climate change warnings were twisted into religious signs. Earthquakes were linked to ancient texts. Every news story became